challenges, what you wanted to capture from the source material that was important for you?
Yeah, so, you know, the experience we've had largely with adapting that you're referencing, I think, is with, you know, with the 4 Marvel movies we made. Joe and I made those in collaboration with Chris Marcus and Steve McFeely, the writers. And so we were very much working in that same mode on this one, with sort of really exciting, inspiring source material that we are all trying to fashion a story from and fashion a film from. So Simone Stollenhag, the artist who created the graphic novel, The Electric State, amazing artist. He has a lot of very passionate fans around the world. His images are so striking, and when you see them, so Chris Marcus was the first one to see the book, and he brought it to Steve and Joe and I, and he said, I think there's something here. We just looked at the images, and the story that he kind of unfolds in the graphic novel is very opaque. It's kind of hard to understand it. You get it in glimpses and sort of, but you can tell there's a much larger world behind what he's telling you in the graphic novel that you can only guess at. And it works beautifully for a graphic novel, but of course in order to tell a 2-hour feature film, you have to get much more specific about the narrative. So we had a great fun sort of diving in and using his incredible artwork as inspiration to figure out what kind of story we could tell in this world. What happened here? You're sort of looking at this world that's been wrecked by a horrible war with robots, and you don't know why, and you don't know how, and you don't know what happened from it, and you're just sort of piecing together what happened. And his art is so fascinating that it just makes you keep chasing it. And I think that's how we eventually got to the movie.
And you've referenced this, so this is, in a sense, a 90s movie, but it's a 90s that has some familiarity to those of us that grew up in the 90s, but it's certainly a different one. Joe, what did you want to allude to in the 90s that we've all experienced? What did you want to retain in this kind of alternate version?
I mean, it's fun to, you know, it's a fable, and I think there's some really compelling themes in it about technology, and Anthony and I tend to find that when you put those themes that are very resonant, currently resonant, you put them in somewhere fantastical and fun, it's a little easier to process those themes. So, you know, imagine a 1990s where in the late 50s, you know, Disney invented animatronics that then became sentient and then started demanding equal rights. And that's where the war comes out of. So it's got a very community-esque tone to it, and I think you know, it cherry picks the 90s in a way that, you know, supports that storytelling and supports the theme of the movie. There's a lot of fun stuff in it. There's a lot of fun music. There's a lot of, you know, things I think that, you know, if you were a child of the 90s or grew up in the 90s, that you're going to recognize and have fun with. But it's all just twisted a little bit.
So Billy, you've done the 1880s, you've done the 1980s, and now you're moving into kind of the 1990s, but again, a different kinds of 1990s. You have Pratt on set. You've experienced the 1990s. Were you the default technical advisor to Millie Bobby Brown to explain what it was like?
Cosmo, do you want to take this one? No. Yes, yeah. It's a 90s that is reflective of our modern world. I mean, it's like all of the pop culture icons, we drew everything from the 90s that we could. A lot of references, great music cues, various things that you'll see through the course of the film that if you grew up in the 90s, and it's astounding to you as it is to me that it's now a deep period, like it's wild.
It's way back.
It's way back.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's as far back now as the 50s was when they did Back to the Future.
Exactly. That's the horrible but true reference point.
Just let that sink in.
Quite a coincidence.
Yeah.
I will say, you mentioned Alan Silvestri, by the way. I mean, I've seen the movie. I've been very lucky to see it. And a Cracker Jack Alan Silvestri score, that brings you right back. Amazing. I mean, was Amblin something you guys talked about with your actors? Were there films referenced to you guys about what they were trying to evoke?
Yeah, without question. I mean, we're Anthony grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and A lot of what we do has to do with nostalgia and things that were impactful to us when we were growing up. And you know, Alan Silvestri's scores were, you know, part of some of our favorite movies. You know, we often talk about Back to the Future as the perfect film, you know, and the score has a lot to do with it. One of the great themes in movie history, and you know, so we got the opportunity to work with Alan on Avengers. You can see how, you know, the work he does with the 90-piece orchestra dimensionalizes the storytelling in a way that's evocative of, you know, your favorite, you know, giant films. And so we were certainly aspiring to make an Amblin type film or a Zemeckis type movie with this. It's very, actually it is very Zemeckis in tone.
You, I would say, in your career. Millie, what did you think of Chris's hair when you finally saw him in full Keats mode?
I knew he made a choice for his character.
Thank you. I did. I can't believe they let me. In fact, they really didn't, because halfway through they're like, "We have a good idea. Maybe he gets a haircut." I was like, "Oh, cool, that makes sense. Maybe there's a little robot with scissors that likes to cut people's hair and just happens to show up and there's a relationship." I think that is how that ended up being happening, right?
Exactly what it is.
I was like, "Hey, I know, I have an idea how you can get a haircut. It'd be really funny." So yeah, I got to be my best self for a half a movie, and then for the rest of the movie, I got to be the guy that you put on the one sheet. So it was fun. It was so fun.
It's a hair evolution. Okay, so we couldn't have a Comic-Con panel without something special for you guys. We're about to show you some exclusive footage. Here's the deal though, this is just for you guys in the room, so put your cell phones down. We are watching, Cosmo's watching. And this one is just... That felt like genuine Panda Express love. That was from the heart. That was deep. I love it. So, anybody recognize Herm's voice, by the way? The giant robot carrying the car there? Anthony Mackie, everybody. Amazing. Can we tease a little bit of Herman's backstory? What do you want to reveal about that character, if anything?
I mean, I think what's interesting about all the lead characters in the movie is that they all have some trauma in their lives that they're running from. And they're all dropouts in their own way. It's, you know, the technology's really pervasive in the movie, but none of them want to participate in it, and they found their own way to escape it. And Herman is a dropout. He's dropped out of robot society, doesn't participate in it. And he and Keith have teamed up, and they kind of, you know, they live off the grid basically, and on the run from the law together. You know, Herman is a little bit of a Russian doll, in that he has, you know, different sizes that he comes in, depending on, you know, the job that's required. He's a construction bot, so you know he's got a 4-foot size, and as you see there, a much larger 20-foot size.
I'm curious, both of you guys obviously have worked